Hi everybody, this is Anne. One of the most common items we make as potters are bowls. I don't know about you, but I can only throw the same bowl so many times before I have an urge to change up the design a bit. One popular way to do this is to alter the rim by splitting it. In this video, I'm going to demonstrate 3 ways you can split the rims of your bowls for unique and attractive results. First, I'll throw a bowl and demonstrate this basic technique for altering the rim. I'm using 1.5 pounds of porcelain clay. I centered the clay on the bat by coning it up and pushing it back down. When throwing a bowl, I continued pushing down into the center of the mound with the palm of my hand until the center's hollowed out, but I still had about a 1/2 inch of clay for the floor. I widened out the floor using a sponge as my clay was just a little bit stiff. I continued with this, pulling the wall up and outward. Remember, it's important to leave a thick rim on the bowl, so with each pull I'm pushing the rim of the bowl downward, which acts to thicken the wall. Again, just remember to push down on the rim after each pull to thicken it. I then rounded off and smoothed each side of the rim. I used my fingers, but you can use a strip of chamois cloth if you have it. With a red rib, I shaped and smoothed out the bowl wall. I then used my finger to create a cute little swirl on the bottom. To split the rim, I dampened the top with a sponge, then used my finger to push down on the very center part while supporting the sides with my other hand. The rim will flatten down and begin to form a crevice with the displaced clay flaring out on either side. Again, I smoothed and rounded the edges of both sides. To deepen the crevice, I straddled the rim underneath and pushed those flared edges upward a bit. There it is, so pretty. This type of rim is just an elegant decorative touch, not really functional. You can leave the rim just like this, but I'm going to take it a step further. I centered a trimming spinner over the bowl so that I can divide the rim into thirds. I just found those blue marks along the edge of the spinner and traced it along the edge of my bowl. For the altering, I simply pinched the clay together along those marks. Here, I'm fixing the area where I dug in with my needle tool, as the clay will want to break there if you don't. And I'm also smoothing away my fingerprints. There! Now that's a good start. Now I'm going to support the outside of the bowl with my fingers and round out the edge along the inside. Finally, I'm going to push inward at each pinched area with one hand and outward along the sides with my other hand. There's that clover look I was going for. Now here's one that I made earlier. When it was leather hard, I trimmed out the bottom, then carved the design along the outer wall. It's always wise to plan out how you're going to finish the entire piece before committing it to the kiln. To glaze it, I added a colored glaze to highlight that elaborate rim and the outside of the bowl. I left the little splits of the carved design white to highlight and echo the split rim for more interest to the piece. Now let's do the same split rim technique on the second bowl, but this time I'll square it off. I repeated the same steps to create another split rim bowl. For this design, I personally prefer a more upright wall as opposed to a flared out wall, but it's your choice. This time, I divided the rim into fourths and pinched the edges again, smoothing away any flaws and fingerprints. Again, you can leave it just like this, but I'm going to use my wooden tool to flatten out the sides. I just positioned the stick between the two pinched edges and pushed it inward. I repeated this all around the bowl until the rim formed a square. Now here's one I created earlier, where again I trimmed the bottom when it was leather hard and then randomly carved the outside. Again, I highlighted the crevice of the rim and outside carved area with a colored celadon glaze, but left the inside white. Finally, I'll show you how to do a side split rim. I started like the other two bowls, leaving that extra thick rim. The difference is that this time I pushed my finger inward along the outside of the rim, so the clay displaced above and below my finger to create a crevice along the meaty part. I divided this into fourths, and this time I pinched the top rim downward to join the bottom edge. I wanted that top edge not to look too sharply pinched in, so I used my finger to gently round the sides as I worked the clay downward. In between each of those 4 pinches, I worked in 4 more of the ruffles. I kept working those sides until I got kind of a soft wave look. Here's one that I made earlier, where at the leather hard stage I trimmed out the bottom, then carved these zigzag lines to echo the top ruffle. To glaze, I followed the same pattern of highlighting the rim and the carved areas and even the interior with colored Celadon glaze, which will break over the texture, and I separated the colored glazed areas with white bands. These are the type of bowls that'll look so pretty with colored candies, fruits, or even ripe vegetables in them on a formal dinner table. But they're really just the start. There's so many more ways to alter these for very beautiful designs. Thanks to the newest members of the Little Street Pottery Research Facility team. If you'd like to join the team and earn a title, click on the Super Thanks button or the link to buy me a coffee. It also really helps us out if you hit that like button and subscribe to our channel. See you next time in the studio.